Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back with you here today. I didn't know at first who we were going to wind up playing today, and it turns out that we are playing against Boise State again. You can see, look at all of these players that we have who are wanted by dozens upon dozens of different clubs. We're going to have a problem if any of these guys are picked off from us, right? I mean, Evan Bowden, I'll let him get out of here. But, if Aldana is picked up by like Oklahoma or Michigan or somebody like that, we're going to have some problems because we don't have exactly any way of replacing him. And even though we've been winning a lot of matches, we don't get a lot of money for doing so. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how long all of this lasts. I don't know. This is a massive match, blah, 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 blah. I tell my team to go out and win. I expect that I'm going to click on the same button with every one of these, and then we go forward. Our draw that you see there on our list was against Boise State. That was on the road in Idaho. We are playing this one in Arizona as the Mountain West Conference Championship game. I don't understand why we have a championship game already. This is ridiculous. And look, it's not even sold out, which is even more ridiculous. We're having a conference championship game before, we just played 1/3 of the season. That's it. So we have to play against these guys 2 additional times in the season itself. I don't know what to say. This is really weird. So we're going to see how we do, and it's Son Hyun Tech with that tackle over to Alpha Do and then down to Bowden as I look over, make sure we don't have too much overload through OBS, but it's taken away from us here again, so I might as well look away and ignore the ugliness that is happening on the screen. Aldana tries for a tackle and misses completely. It looks kind of foolish doing so, and Boise State's kind of passing this ball around the back. We are favorites to win this one, but of course that doesn't mean anything. It's Knight bringing this one up, and it's over to Silva, and how did he miss that? How did he miss that? He was called offside in the end, so it wouldn't have counted. But how did that one not go in? I thought that one went over the line, and it ends up coming to nothing, and we wait for the next highlight, and here it is, and it looks like it's Boise State with the throw, and Silvis is off to the side with some sort of injury, which is not good. And it's Watson taking this up. It's especially bad because Silvis is playing in one of those defensive midfielder roles. We just don't have a lot of those guys. Son Hyun Tech ends up taking that ball off, sends it back to Korn up to Alpha Do to Williams. Williams takes this up on the left side, passes it forward to Aldana, and it ends up with Martin. Martin passes over to Benitez. Benitez with the cross goes nowhere. Silvis came back on somehow, and that was a real hockey change, and ends up with Aldana, who takes a shot, but he is offside. So I'm not entirely sure what happened, and we are going to actually take Silvas off. We're going to make this substitution only 9 minutes into this match. This is not what I wanted to have happen. We do have 2 defensive midfielders here on the bench. We have Chavez and we have Meza, so it's okay. We can sort of spare one, though Chavez really isn't much of a player. Meza is one of the 2 players we brought in on a transfer over in the summer. And now we are running behind the ball again, and we'll see what we can do. It's Benitez who wins it and then loses it again, and it's over to Silva, who almost scores the first goal of the match. It's Boise State here with the corner, and this is a dangerous one indeed, and I'm trying to make sure my dog doesn't turn off all the power, which just might happen. Clark ends up with it here after that corner proves unsuccessful for Boise State, back to Parkinson, and then it goes back out, and we'll take a look at this highlight. So Knight brought this up on the side. Benitez wanted off of him and then lost it again, and I don't know if Benitez knows how to play his position. That's a very, very concerning display by a player who we haven't played that frequently because he sucks, and I might take him out here pretty soon. Aldana has the ball in a really kind of awkward spot in his Pannenberg, the Boise State goaltender, who takes it off of him. Meza with it over to Gallagher, now to Daly. Daly looking forward for Aldana, can't find him. Bowden kind of heads that one over and passes it to nobody. It ends up back with Boise State in their defense, and it's Benitez winning that tackle this time, so he did something good. Benitez now over to Martin. Martin down to Williams. Matt Williams has it. He needs to slow down a little bit. Instead, he speeds it up and finds Daryl Daly. Daryl Daly with the shot on goal, and that forced a really good save by Pannenberg. And so that worked out in the end, I would say, but I'm still a little bit concerned. Bowden here with the corner. Takes this looking for Aldana, can't find him. It ends up back to Bowden in the end, and onside, of course, thankfully for him, because he got out of that corner. And, we're going to see what we can do here. It's Boise State Knight here with this free kick, and we remember Knight. He's pretty dangerous. Ends up back to Fuentes, and then back to Knight again. And there's Silva with the header, and that one ends up being grabbed over by Korn, and we will get the ball back, and we'll see if we get another highlight here or not. I've been a little bit worried here. This doesn't look like we're playing all that well, and we're not seeing that offensive spark that we usually see. Bowden here with the free kick, and that one is saved as well. And I think that's the second one of those kind of shots on goal that we've seen from close range from Bowden. There's Meza with the ball now with Gallagher. Gallagher looks for Bowden, and the pass is just horrible. The pass is just really, really bad. Gallagher not having a good game here in the early going. And Boise State winds up with the ball and winds up sort of taking control of this highlight, and we'll see what happens. That's Reddy. That's that player that we worry about so much. And it's Knight sort of running all over the field, and we're not doing very much about it. I think that this formation is based on a tiki-taka, so I think it's okay that we're not necessarily pressing so hard, but I'd like to see us at least try. And Silva ends up with a shot from point-blank range that Korn somehow is able to get around to save. And, we're committing too many fouls, whatever, I don't care. And there's the corner that goes up and ends up being headed out by us, and it's with Reddy here, and he kicks that. He has himself stripped by Benitez, and that's kicked out for that's actually going to be a free kick, so they did call the foul. Knight will take this free kick, and it ends up sort of floating in the middle of the air and going to nobody. We're going to see a highlight here, not a highlight, but a replay here of that prior highlight as Knight brought this up, passed that one into Silva, and that was just barely knocked out by Korn. That was a really good save. Knight with this again, and it's Son Hyun-taek who just misses the interception, almost gets beaten for it. And it ends up back with Korn, who has safe hands and who's able to grab that. We are almost to the end of the first half, and for those people who were expecting a win, they might be a little surprised to see us struggle. The truth is that players like Aldana tend to do very well when they play against poor teams, but when you play against a really good defensive team, they just fall apart. Gallagher just not having a good time there in the back, cannot find a man to pass to. So you take now the Meza over to Martin, and he's looking forward, and he finds Benitez. Pass it, Benitez. Don't take a shot yourself. That's a poor decision by him. I might take Benitez off here at halftime, whether we have the lead or not. This one ends up, corner ends up being knocked out by Boise State, and that's the end of that. So this was a good job by Martin to bring that forward, and there's Benitez, and he's got two guys. He's got Bowden and Aldana. They're just waiting for the pass, and instead he takes a shot himself, which is frustrating and which is not really what we want to see. There's the corner, and it ends up going all the way back there to Gallagher. Chris Gallagher with this brings this ball up, brings it up a little bit more, and then sort of faffs around with it, ends up passing it back to Bowden. It's an awful pass. Bowden beats two guys and has a shot that goes into the 10th row, which, as you will recall, is the place that we love to shoot. And here is Bowden again with a free kick, and this one ends up being knocked out, and he goes back and grabs that one. And he passes it forward looking for Meza. My dog is excited now. She's all over the place here this morning. Gallagher with it. Gallagher back to Doe. Doe over to Son Hyun-taek. Son Hyun-taek passes it forward looking for Benitez and just can't quite find him. And is back with Matt Williams. And it goes all the way back to Korn. Korn over to Alpha Doe. Alpha Doe with it now over to Gallagher. Chris Gallagher brings this ball up. Brings it up, and he passes it hard down to Martin, and it goes forward to Aldana, and Aldana's got the goalkeeper beaten and got his man beaten, and that's what we like to see from Aldana. And that's sort of the difference maker here in this, and that's the sort of thing that Aldana can do that I don't think I've seen anybody else be able to do, at least in this save, which is the ability to have this just explosive speed, take a ball forward, have a first touch on it like that, and then knock it past everybody. Technically speaking, it was an own goal because Watson put it into his own net, but, I mean, there's nothing you could do about it. You don't really want to charge him with it because there's no way he could have avoided that. Just like that, we are up, and we are up 1-0 at halftime. As I said before, it is Benitez who's having a poor game of that 6.4. I'm glad I was able to catch that while we were playing because he is coming off. And in a normal save, I probably would never play this guy. I probably would have sold him early on, but, things are a little bit weird in this environment, so we want to hold on to as many players as we can. Daryl Daly's tired, so we're going to put Mutenya on. And that's going to be the end of our changes for now. Probably will be our full allotment of changes here in the second half. I'm assuming that if they tie it, this one's going to go into weird, stuff, extra time penalties and so on and so forth. And we'll see what happens. Our lead is pretty slim. And, we'll see what happens as the rest of this match plays out. Our players are looking happy, which is good. I'm glad that they're happy. I'd be a little bit happier if we had a second goal. Bowden tries to win this one in the air and just can't. And there's another ball in the air that Alfredo is able to win, but Jim Rocha just a step too late to win that ball himself, and the shot goes over to Korn. And as I've said before, I'm thankful that the computer manager creates tactics in which you basically lump the ball forward, because as long as they keep doing that, our defenders will be able to get back. They haven't yet discovered that we don't have any wingbacks. There was a header by Aldana. What a strange decision to make. I think he knew he was offside. But yeah, pretty strange bit of decision-making there. Bowden with it back, and it ends up going back to Alfredo over to Meza. Now Meza looks for Martin. Martin over to Amutenya. Amutenya runs forward and takes a shot, and he's called for offside, which I think was kind of a phantom call. I'm pretty sure he was onside. I can see that Evan Bowden is very, very tired, but we only have the one substitution left, and this is where it's really frustrating to have to play someone like Benitez, who you end up having to take off because he stinks. It's Knight with the shot that fortunately for us goes over everybody's head, is with Gallagher again. Now Gallagher lobs this one forward looking for Evan Bowden, can't quite find him. And this is knocked back to Alfredo, has it over to Son Hyun-taek to Martin. Martin over to Bowden. Bowden to Amatenya. And Bowden did a smart thing by sort of stepping back a little bit, which is what opened up all of that in the back. Unfortunately, though, the defender is able to grab onto it. Gallagher there should be given a yellow card for that foul and was not. You can see that Bowden, by stopping that little bit, gets the defense totally off balance, and it creates this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacking players. And Meza ends up being the one who has the shot. And I tell you, if that ball is not to Meza, but rather to Amatenya, then we're up 2-0. Meza with the shot is not really the player you want to shoot there. Bowden now with this free kick knocks this one forward, and that goes up and over the crossbar, and it is out for a Boise State goal kick. Now it's a Knight here with the throw-in. Knight is always dangerous, and he knocks this back to Watson. Alfredo able to grab it over to Son Hyun-taek, who heads it up to the opposition. What a foolish decision by Son Hyun-taek, and Gallagher's beaten. Oh, man, and Lozano should have scored the equalizer. Man, absolutely, this game should be tied. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. How does he miss that one? He has miles and miles of net in front of him, and he can't find it. There's no replay, which is a good thing, I guess, for Boise State, because that was a ridiculous attempt. Jim Rocha now with this, and he's onside, I guess, with many question marks. Pannenberg ends up with the ball, and that ends that question. Rocha right here was probably offside, but nobody seemed to catch it, I guess. I don't know. There's probably a lot of whistling and hissing coming from the crowd, which is, as I said, probably about 1/3 empty. Jim Rocha throws over to Martin. Martin down to Matt Williams. Matt Williams with it now, looking to penetrate, and he passes backwards to Son Hyun-taek to Martin, back to Williams, back to Son Hyun-taek, and it is intercepted by that man Reddy, who is such a good player. Alfredo is able, though, to win this pass back. Knocks it back to Korn, and I hate seeing that. Don't knock it all the way back there, and that's an awful pass by Korn, and it's a bad pass again by Gallagher. Oh, man. Jim Rocha with it finally, and it's with Son Hyun-taek. Let's just lump it forward. There we go. Aldana with it in this position, and he has the ball stripped from him, not really tackled as much as he sort of tripped. And there was a shot on goal here at the end, but it didn't quite happen. Aldana did very, very good, and yeah, he trips over his man. I guess he trips over Corella there, but it's after the ball already went to Evan Bowden, who can't quite knock it goalwards. It's over to Bowden again, over to Amatenya, and then to Williams, who has a header on it, and Aldana misses it, and that was another sitter that should have been a goal. Navarrete with it over to Lozano, and Meza able to get over and grab that one, and we're back over to Bowden here. We have 3 minutes of extra time to play, and or of added time, rather. Navarrete with this again. I had a good friend who's in middle school. His last name was Navarrete. Over to Barty. Barty is able to knock it past his man. It's over Lozano, who has a wide open shot on goal, and Korn somehow is able to save that. And man, oh man, we really are struggling with not having any wingbacks or fullbacks. Korn with this ball now. I know they want me to substitute Bowden. We're going to keep Bowden on as long as we can. I don't care if he feels broken, right? This is the championship game that we play after only a third of the season is done. If we have to play 2 more championship games before the real championship, I'm going to get upset. Matt Williams with the throw. He throws it in looking for Grant Martin. Can't find him. It's over with Navarrete again over to Parkinson. Parkinson finds Corelli, and there's nobody back. There's nobody in front of him. And does he see that Lozano is wide open? And no, he doesn't. thankfully for us, and it's with Aldana. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Aldana back to Rocha, and we are going to slow it down here a little bit over to Son Heung-Tek. Son Heung-Tek brings this one over, looks forward for Amutenya, who was offside, and there's no flag up, thankfully, over to Metza. Metza, he takes just a wild shot from range, which is probably the wrong decision. I don't think that our players are very self-aware. This one has me ripping my hair out because Corellia comes down, and he's wide open, and then three guys encircle him. Korn makes the save, and it's fortunate for us that Corellia doesn't see Lozano, who has nobody even close to him. Korn has to make two really, really difficult saves on that one to keep us alive. Metza now with it over to Amutenya. Amutenya brings this one forward. The game's starting to glitch a little bit. Amutenya, it's still Amutenya, and he's going to cross. He's going to cross, and he's fouled by Lozano. And that's thankfully the case for us because it means that's the final whistle. That's the end of your ball game. BYU wins this one 1-0. Oh, look at this, and we even get a trophy celebration. Now imagine that. Did you imagine that? Did you think that was going to happen here? Did you think that we really were going to get a trophy celebration out of all of this? This is a little bit interesting, a little bit surprising, but that's exactly what's happened. We have our second, I want to say, trophy celebration of the save. This is after the Mountain West Championship game, so we can say woohoo, and I timed that one wrong, and there we go, we have won. And there's all the confetti and all of the fireworks and everything like that is coming down. Again, kind of weird to have a celebration here since we were first in the league anyway. I guess this game doesn't count for league standings. I don't know. This editor data file I'm using, I mean, it's creative, it's interesting, but it's also really, really weird. And yeah, here we go. We are the champions of the first third of the season. We'll see if we're champions of the rest of it. We had a 2.89 XG, 62% of the possession, so we won this game pretty handedly. Even still, there were many, many times in which I thought we were about to lose it. So not exactly my favorite team of all time, this one. Hope you've enjoyed this video, though, and yeah, we'll see what comes next. I have no idea what's coming up next in this editor data file. This stuff is weird. Talk to you later. Bye.